Welcome back to Switch to Linux. We have a special video. No, I didn't buy a house. We're over here visiting Fresh Vintage. Have a look over at their channel. We're using their internet today, and what we're doing is setting up a Pixel tablet. Oh, look at that googliness. And we're going to be putting GrapheneOS on this. I like the Pixels for this reason. You can run GrapheneOS. There's only a couple of other tablets that you can run a custom ROM on, like Lineage. Those are usually your Samsung tablets. But these guys here are pretty premium as well. They have a good build quality. Now, you can tell it's open box. I don't buy a lot of stuff brand stinking new. I've been looking around for one of these for a while, looking for a deal. We found the open box, and we talked them down a few more dollars down on Best Buy. So there you go. We got that guy there. We're going to be setting this up. So we need to go get in here, and we will first verify. I've opened it and made sure it turned on. I've never walked through any of the screens. We're going to be setting this up as if it's brand new, verifying everything works, and then we will be walking through the steps to install GrapheneOS utilizing the web installer on a Linux Mint system. And I'm sorry, I forget which version this is. It's like a Linux Mint 21 branch. So that is what we are going to be doing on today's video. Our first step is going to be preparing the tablet. Now, we're not just going to buy a tablet, open up the box, and start installing something on it. You really want to do this, even if it were brand new, you really want to make sure there's no defects on it. So you're going to open it up, we're going to test it out. We're going to test out the Bluetooth and a few other options in there. So we're going to go ahead and do the unboxing of the amazing thing. Hopefully they didn't leave anything out, but we have the tablet in here. So I'll just got to pop this guy out, which is a little bit of a challenge sometimes. Got to get the tablet out. And then inside we just have our informational cards, which are, you know, get in there, fairly useless. Hey, there's 3 buttons on this thing. If you can't figure out the power, the volume up, volume down in this, take it back. You might be incompetent to own such a device. And then, you know, this thing that nobody ever reads anyway. And then we also have a cable that comes with it as well. So this guy is actually a USB-C, USB-C. We're not going to use that particular cable. And the reason is I have this cable, which is a super high throughput. When you're doing this, you want to make sure you're using, if not the genuine cable from the box, use a good quality cable. This is not your $3 gas station cable. This is a super high speed. It is a super high rated wattage for data transfer and for power transfer. So I'm going to use this cable because it's already ready and it matches the ports that I need on my system. So the first thing we're going to do over here is we're going to turn the device on for the very first time. If I can remember how, so hopefully I'm not too stupid. Let's go ahead and turn this bad boy on. Gotta hold the power button. Woo, look at that googliness, folks. Welcome to your Pixel tablet. We're gonna go ahead and get started. It's searching for Wi-Fi, but we're just going to turn it off. We're going to ask Fresh Vintage to turn it on later. I always set stuff up without Wi-Fi first because, you know, if you watch that weekly news roundup recently where we talked about Google collecting data on you even before you do this, yeah, this is going to stop that from happening. All right, we're going to set up our Eastern Daylight Time. That looks like the date. That looks about like the time, so we look good. And then we need to set a pin. Oh, no looking! Fingerprint? Hell no. Not now. Use location data? Hell no. Allow scanning? Ew. Send diagnostics and data? No. And install and update apps? Fine, accept. Because you're not on the internet. Of course, we have a limited warranty. We're not going to hold Google liable. Of course not. We're not even going to hold GrapheneOS liable either. Ha ha ha. Look at that. So now you can do your swipe to navigate, learn the various gestures, do stuff like that. Let's try it. There you go. Oh, we need to go home first, don't we? There you go. Got that one. And, you know, there's different things. Oh, it's telling us to try again. I don't even know what we're trying to do here. We're doing from the far right or far left. There you go. Oh, look at that. I can be successful. And now what it wants to do. See, it's just read the thing. Hold to the bottom and release. There you go. Look at that. Beautiful. Successful. I can actually set this thing up. There you go. Swipe up to go home. I went home, man. All right, so there we have our Pixel tablet. So at this point in time, we are going to want to get on the internet. So we're going to connect to a wireless network, and I'm going to ask Fresh Vintage to go ahead and set up our internet there. So we're going to use his internet. So if you have not checked out Fresh Vintage, go ahead and check out that channel, particularly if you like cars.
There we go.
All right, and we are on, and we will be getting a new case. We've placed the order for it. The case is not in yet. So now that it is set up, and now it's, of course, going on and doing all that crazy googly stuff. All right, but that's okay. Next thing we want to do, we want to go ahead and test out pairing a new device. So Fresh Vintage has a smart speaker over here, like a Bluetooth speaker over here. So we're going to pair a new device. And is that it? Mm-hmm. All right. We are pairing. Also access contacts and call history. Sweet. I got you now. All right, and we have a indication from the device that it is turned on, so Bluetooth is working. We know that wireless is now working. Now, the next thing we actually want to make sure that we do here is we want to make sure that all of our updates are in. So I just got to remember exactly where that is. Let's go under our system and software updates. And there's pending system updates. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and resume. And we'll go ahead and turn the video back on when system updates are ready to go. All right, so the Pixel is up to date. So the last thing we need to do to get this guy prepped up is we need to go into our system, down to the About the Tablets, and find your build number, and you need to tap this several times. And then this is going to, whoop. Oh, don't look at my passkey. All right, and now that we do this, it says you are now a developer at the bottom. So under your system menu, down near the bottom, you'll now have a new menu called Developer Options that is only turned on once you've done that. So we need to come down into here, and what we need to do is enable OEM and unlocking. So hit this. Once again, you need to enter your passkey. Oh no, you don't get to see my password on my production machine. Allow it. Yes, we're going to allow it. This check mark is on. Now our device is ready to go. Our last step is going to be to reboot this guy into a fast boot mode, which is what we do with the volume down button. So if you remember where your volume down button is, when you reboot the system, holding the volume down button, you'll get into a fast boot mode. But we'll get into that in just a second. What we're going to do is we'll head on over to the website here. So this is going to be GrapheneOS.org. And when you hit the install option here, then it's going to take you to the page, and there's the command line installation. So if you've watched my videos in the past on installing Lineage, effectively that's what this is. And really, installing ROMs used to be really complicated for many people, but GrapheneOS has made this simple with its web-based installer, which I already have set up in a tab over here. Literally, you prep your system up, you plug your device in, and you click a couple of buttons, and it will go through and set everything up. Now, there are a few little caveats. You'll see the list of operating systems that this is supported on. And there are a few web browsers, so I'm using Chromium on this, and you want to make sure that you are using a Chromium that is not a Snap or a Flatpak. So you want to make sure that you're using Chromium, Vanadium, which is GrapheneOS, Google Chrome, sadly, Microsoft Edge, and Brave also works, but you have to turn off the Brave shields on GrapheneOS's website. No, that's not so they can do crazy tracking. It has to do with with Brave interfering with some of the data that basically we need to download the whole distribution. And if you're doing an incognito mode on any browser or have Brave shields up, then it will actually interfere with the process. So that is something you need to do. There's also, this is where it enables OEM unlocking. That's the step we just did. And the next thing that we need to look at is Ubuntu and some Debian has FWUPD. It's a firmware updater. And the version that they have could interfere with the device. And so you want to double check if you have a version lower than 1.9.10, you want to disable that particular service. So I've already disabled that particular service on this computer since this is a Linux Mint 21 series. I did double check it, and this is running a 1.7x, I think 1733 if I remember correctly. So I did want to turn that off so that this process does not interfere with the Pixel when I plug it in. Now on Arch, this is not a problem because Arch has patched this, so that's just something that you need to do. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to go into load the device into the bootloader. So it says down here to do this, you need to hold the volume button down while the device boots. So let's go on over to our Pixel and shut this guy down. So we'll just hold the button actually. Okay, yeah, I know what I'm doing with holding the button. Thank you, Pixel. Oh God, never mind, it's talking to us. We have to figure out a different way. All right, how do we shut this thing off? There's our power button down there. So we'll hit the power off. And then what we're gonna do is I'm going to hold the volume down while I hit the power button there. And you'll see that now we have fast boot mode and we have our red triangle. That is precisely where we need to get to. Now we're going to plug our device into the computer using a high quality USB drive. Like I said, don't do this with your gas station drive. Do this with a good device, okay? So I'm gonna verify that's in there. And so the next step we need to do is back up over here. There's a button that says unlock bootloader. Hit this, it says bootloader unlocked. And if you go back to the Pixel, now it's telling us, it's giving us a warning, hey, something wants to unlock the bootloader. This could be malware. It's not malware, it's GrapheneOS. I need to hit the volume button over here, say unlock bootloader, and hit our button here. This is going to reboot the system, and now it's telling us the device state is unlocked, and it's over here, it's doing this. Also, something I didn't notice earlier, when you start walking through this, all data is going to be lost, so be aware of that. Okay, now that our bootloader is unlocked, we'll hit the download release, and hopefully it will find the release we need. There you go, it's downloading. So you'll see it says downloading Tanjiro Pro install. So this is the code name, and I did check the code names earlier. This is the correct code name used for downloading GrapheneOS, and this is why we're using Fresh Vintage's internet. Look at those awesome speeds. Oh, I'm envious. So it says it is done here. So now we're going to flash the factory images. So what the system's doing behind the scenes is it's running the commands that is going to restarting the device, adding the individual items. The device automatically restarted itself. We're going to give it a second to finish. And what it's doing at this point in time is it's wiping everything out and then running a series of restarts. So as you just saw the screen over there on the Pixel, flash and then restart. Everything on the Pixel is happening right here on the screen. And so now you can see that this guy here is working and this guy over here is writing to the individual device. And so now we just have to wait for that guy to finish writing. While that guy's going to finish writing, I'm going to tell you here a little bit about GrapheneOS. So I've been using GrapheneOS now on my cell phone for over a year. Now I was happily using Lineage, but we had a situation where I think it was literally just the city I was in had towers that were down. It was a weird phase of the mood, or the universe just wanted me on Graphene. Haven't ever figured out, because that old Razr 2 phone works everywhere with the SIM cards now. But I've gotten used to Graphene, and it has a couple privacy features in it. I like it, and I actually like the smaller form factor of the Graphene phone rather than the big form factor of the Razr 2. GrapheneOS, though, is a highly modified version of the Android open source project, which is modified for security and privacy. Best of all worlds. They support devices even a little bit longer than Google will. The downside of it, it really only works on Google devices, your Pixel phones, and amazingly, your Pixel tablets. So I have here a couple of Google phones. Mine is actually the 5A, which is now under legacy support. So this one will lose GrapheneOS support for a while. I probably won't care. I'll probably just keep using it. That's probably bad of me, but I really don't use my phone for anything major anyway. Now, on this particular device, I don't have anything Google at all installed. Now, you can install Google on this. It will do a verification check, and it will pass those checks your banks are looking for, because GrapheneOS is one of the very few custom ROMs for a phone that will actually lock the bootloader, which is amazingly good. And so with this, you can run your Google apps in a sandbox that will prevent Google from actually getting the information. So that's actually a very useful thing. So that's really why I like GrapheneOS, and we're gonna go ahead and get this installed on the Pixel, and we'll talk a little bit about what I'm going to do with that. Now, Fresh Vintage here has a, what's this, a 6A? Pixel 6A here, and this guy here is also running GrapheneOS, and he actually has installed the Google apps, so he actually can use all these Google functions on here without actually much problem, but still none of the data done on this phone is going to go back to Google. All right, so with that, I am actually seeing that our device is flashed over here. So now that it says it's flashed, wait for the flashing process to complete. It will automatically handle flashing the firmware, rebooting into the interface, and flashing the OS. Avoid interacting with the device until the flashing script is completed. Then proceed to locking the bootloader before using the device, as locking wipes the data again. So now you'll see the very next button down here, lock the bootloader. Bootloader locked, and let's have a look at the device. So over here it says, do you want to lock the bootloader? So we're going to go ahead and use our button and lock the bootloader. This is going to reboot the device, and hopefully it will reboot back into our GrapheneOS on our Pixel tablet. Okay, so over here what we're going to do is we're going to go into our restart bootloader. We'll change this over to start and hit the start button. Now it says it's using a different operating system. There's an ID down here. So this ID should match the hash for the individual device. And so over here, Pixel tablet. So that hash should match this hash. As long as it does and you verified that, then you're actually in really good shape. And that did. And now you can see our tablet is now running GrapheneOS. All right, so now we have to do our setup again. Welcome to GrapheneOS. We'll hit our button here. Now you'll notice that Wi-Fi is off by default, and I can turn it on. Should we do that now? Let's go ahead and do that guy now. I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this from the computer because Fresh Vintage is gonna need to grab the device here. I'll go ahead and do this and let Fresh Vintage go ahead and add the Wi-Fi. Ooh, look at this. The car dude is doing it all. And then he just turns the whole world upside down, except I think the camera flipped. All right, so now our device is on Wi-Fi, sweet. So we'll go ahead and hit our next button, verify it. Oh, look at this, now we're in GMT zone. I don't like that. Let's go ahead and find something, because I'm one of these dumb Americans. I can't keep track of all this type of stuff. We're 8:07, so that took what? Just about a half hour, 45 minutes to get installed while recording the video. Location services allow apps that have asked your permission to use location. So I'm gonna turn this off for now because I will manually give location to any app that is relevantly needs it. And I'm not sure that's gonna be any app with the purpose of this tablet. Now I need to set up a pin, and you can't see that again, ha ha ha. My production pins, ooh. And I think I need to hit it one more time. And yes, GrapheneOS can even do the fingerprinting stuff. Nope, not interested, even Graphene. There's no apps to restore, so I'm gonna skip that part. And now I can swipe to navigate apparently my phone, sure, okay. We'll go ahead and skip that. I should be able to figure that out. Now, do we want to disable OEM locking? Recommended to disable it in order to improve device security. We're going to do that. We can turn this back on at a later time. We'll go ahead and do that. And now we have GrapheneOS installed, and it is black on the screen. That's okay. We can add an image to it later on. We have Vanadium is a hardened Chromium. We have a camera app, which is decent. I still prefer Open Camera for my phone. And then this guy over here is an app installer. Yes, I know how to use the taskbar. Stop it. Fine. Okay, yes, I wanted to open it. That's why I did. So here's the App Store. This is the auditor. Will verify the integrity of your device. And then we have a number of other things installed here. Of course, there is still a basic settings panel, which has all of the things in here as well. Now, there's not going to be any app stores on here other than that app store that we saw. So I am going to do something like add, I'm going to do F-Droid. I'm not going to do Google Play Services. I don't think I need it. Not going to do Android Audio. Don't think I need that. So we'll go ahead over to here, hit our settings. And I don't think there's really much anything in here I need over here as well. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to install F-Droid using Vanadium, look for the various apps, and then we'll go ahead and walk through those steps in a few moments. In the meantime, I'm going to talk a little bit about what this tablet is for. I got this specifically for Switch to Linux so I can quickly stay logged into social accounts and things like that. Keep better communication with people through the channel on this device, because right now a lot of those accounts are only signed in under my big streaming computer, and this gives me an easy access device that I can quickly get to Twitter or some of the other channel resources that we might use like Matrix without having to worry about the complexities of turning on the big streaming computer or worrying much about power and things like that. So this tool is designed here for Switch to Linux, and I'll show you in a future video everything that we have done with it, but I'll show you kind of the basics about getting it started here in our next couple steps. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're just going to boot up the web browser, and okay, notifications. No, I don't need notifications. Sorry, I just don't like notifications. We're going to go to F-Droid. I'm just going to do a basic search for F-Droid, and it looks like DuckDuckGo is our default. That's okay. We'll go ahead down here to F-Droid, and I'm just going to go ahead and download the F-Droid app. So we're choose where to download it. There you go. And we're going to open, and we're going to jump into our settings and allow from this source and install. Now, I generally don't actually keep apps, like I don't keep F-Droid installed on the system. I will install everything I need, and I'm going to take it off, and then I will add it later on at specific times when I want to update apps, but I just don't want to have notifications or weird stuff going on when I'm not ready for it. So let's go ahead and do this. Looks like we already have an update for F-Droid. I don't know why there's an update for F-Droid after I went ahead and did this, but we are going to need to install from this source as well. So go ahead and update it. And I'm probably going to add more stuff later on, but I'm just going to walk through a couple of the steps that I'm going to do. Let me get rid of that for a second. We'll go back to F-Droid. So now we have a security and privacy hardened Google Pixel tablet running GrapheneOS that we can use for Switch to Linux to improve the channel quality as we go forward. So there is how simple it actually is. Literally unlock the device, plug it into your computer, and click 4 buttons on a website, folks. There's no excuse not to be running this good stuff. Of course, I do like the Pixel devices. They're not the highest end devices, but they're not crap quality either, and you can get them pretty cheap. How much was this one these days?
Used, it's about $155.
$155 for this Pixel 6a. Now, mine is under legacy support. I don't think you can install it on that one anymore. I paid $130 for mine last year, so you can still get good prices on those. You can buy them online. Amazon has great prices, and there's probably some other places you can find them online cheap as well. This Pixel tablet was under $400, and hopefully it works out well for me. We'll have a full review on it maybe in a couple weeks after I've gotten a chance to play with it a little bit. So there is a little bit about what we're doing here. Thanks for watching, guys. You can subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. If you like this hat or this amazing hoodie, these are available over on shop.switchedtolinux.com, as well as other features as well. Also, check out that Fresh Vintage channel if you like cars. I do a lot of cars, car shows, and things like that. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to GrapheneOS.